Hi, you huggable
I am Luke
lollipops.
Skywalker, Jedi Knight and French Captain Solo.
And I'm Joseph the Huggist, and today I'm playing Zen Pinball 2, talking about and the Star Wars Return of the Jedi table, and talking about Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. And what was the plot of the movie? According to IMDb, after a daring mission to rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt, the rebels dispatched to Endor to destroy a more powerful Death Star. Meanwhile, Luke struggles to help Darth Vader back from the dark side without falling into the Emperor's trap.
The conflict.
So I was -6 when this movie came out, so obviously I was not born yet. And I remember watching it on VHS. I didn't watch it as much as the first time. Now I watch it on Blu-ray and DVD. But the first time, and it made an impact with me, but not as much as Empire Strikes Back. Honestly, this is the least memorable movie for me to the trilogy, but it's also the one that I don't really have that much to say about, bad things to say.
Jedi Knight and French Captain Solo.
So times I lost interest was 0.
Jedi.
No time I wasn't interested. I wasn't like, I want to shut this movie off. How did it look? It looked pretty good. It started on Tatooine, which I don't like because we've just seen so much of Tatooine at this point. Especially if you watch it from episode 1 to 6, you see even more Tatooine. And then you get to see, they do go on a lot of planets in this one. They go to Dagobah and Endor, and they go back to the Death Star. They go all over the place, which I enjoyed, except Tatooine. But even Tatooine was still pretty cool.
No conflict.
The sound quality was great. The music was amazing. It sounds like a Star Wars movie should. Character one I want to talk about is Luke Skywalker, and this is the movie where he kind of feels like a man. In A New Hope, he feels like a child. He's always whining and complaining to Obi-Wan, and he feels like a child character. In Empire Strikes Back, he feels like a teenager as he's talking back to Yoda and questioning everything, but he's still productive enough to be help to the rebellion. This one, he feels like an adult. He's not whiny. He's very wise. Has experience at this, and he feels like a full-grown Jedi.
Has taught you well.
Character number 2 is Darth Vader. As Luke's progression went up, Vader's went where he just got weaker and weaker, to the point where he's hoping for Luke to take his place. From my point of view, that's what it looks like. Character number 3 is Han Solo, and mainly there's just one point. It's because I believe it's ironic that Harrison Ford did not want to be in this movie. He wanted to die in Empire. But Han Solo, this is the only movie where he actually wanted to be a part of the rebellion. As in the other two, he's trying to get to Jabba Hutt to pay him back. My least favorite scene in the movie is Boba Fett. For such a cool looking character, they really did make him look like a punk. A bitch-ass punk, to be honest. So it was. It really sucks that they did that to him, but whatever. My most favorite scene is when they were going through the Death Star and blowing it up, because it was fun to see the Millennium Falcon in that tight space, and all the effects really looked amazing. They looked practical. So my thoughts about the movie. Han Solo has to be the most expensive decoration in the universe at this point. he owes Jabba 15, so we can add that to him. Chewbacca was 35, and let's just assume that
Hurry up, will you? I haven't got all day.
Han was at least double that, so let's give him around 70 at this point, and just 70 on that. Let's say more 80, but I'm guessing Boba Fett's services aren't cheap, and let's add another 30 to that. So I'm guessing he's around at least 100,000 credits or more to get. So pretty expensive. Did Luke find that lightsaber or did he make it? I'm not super familiar with the Legends universe, or I'm somewhat familiar with the current canon of Star Wars, but I haven't kept up to date in a year or so. So I don't know how he acquired that lightsaber. If he made it, it's pretty impressive because Yoda didn't teach him, with the fact that he was going back to Dagobah to finish his training, so he never learned that. Obi-Wan certainly didn't see it. He just teach him. He gave it to him. So curious about that. Did Luke figure out that Leia was his sister from the unnatural kiss feeling that he got in the last movie? Because he didn't. Once Obi-Wan said there was another, like, I forgot the exact line, that there was a twin. He didn't. It did not take him long to figure out who it was.
There is no
On this on Endor, the Ewoks were going to eat Luke, Han, and Chewbacca. So I was thinking about it, is how many stormtroopers have they been able to come across, and if so, how many humans have they eaten? Because if they're willing to do that, they must have caught some others.
Everything is proceeding.
And Leia is so powerful with the Force that she is able to remember Padme even when she was dying from birth, which is amazing. She must have very powerful Force visions, or she just could remember that brief second she met her.
I am Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight and
And this is the first movie where C-3PO is actually a help to anyone. In the rest of them, he's a comic relief, but here he gets to be he convinces the Ewoks to let go of them with Luke's help, and he actually, I guess he helps convince them to fight, as they just did that on their own. So for the first time in the movies, he's actually useful. One of my favorite parts about the first 6 movies is that there's a balance to them. As in Episode 1, the dark side one, they found Lord Vader. Episode 2, the Jedi Order wasn't eliminated ahead of plan because of the clone troopers. The Emperor needed them still because he needed to fight that war to gain all that power, and without that, he wouldn't have.
Everything is proceeding as I had foreseen.
I don't remember the point. But also, Anakin does fall in love with Padme, and ultimately that leads to the birth of Luke, which is a very good thing. Number 3 is obviously the dark side wins, because the Emperor gets full control of the galaxy and runs the universe. So Episode 4 was the light side, when Luke destroying the Death Star. So ultimately they had the final win in that. Episode 5, Vader cuts off Luke's hand, beats him. They capture Han, and they pretty much destroy the rebel base. So obvious, it's for me, my point of view, it's an obvious win for the dark side. And then episode 6, the Emperor and the Death Star are destroyed again. So the light side wins. It's I love the balance in those
Well, it
movies.
only takes one to sound the alarm.
We're doomed. Oh, I told you it was dangerous here.
If I rambled through that, it's because this is the third attempt for me to try to do this review. Mainly because the game capture for this particular table isn't really great, so I've had a lot of rehearsal time. With all that being said, thanks for watching the video. I will see you the next time. Have some grape juice.
Your thoughts